Welcome to the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners Board meeting for Palm Beach County, September 19th, 2023. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Barnett,
Here.
Commissioner Baxter,
Here.
Commissioner Bernard,
Here.
Commissioner Marino, Vice Mayor Sachs,
Here.
Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we have the honor of having the Vice Mayor lead us in our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise if you're able.
Bow our heads. Eternal God, in these troubled times when anxiety runs high and frustration runs deep, in the face of political transitions and an economy writhing in disarray, we are grateful for reminders of your presence, your love for us, and your grace towards us. Teach when we think we do not have enough of this, that, or the other, to be more grateful for what we do have than fearful about what we don't, and very appreciative of what we have left than embittered over what we have lost. Show us, O God, where we need to be more swift to bless than to belittle, more quick to love than to loathe, and in this season, more generous in our offered compassion to the forgotten and forlorn. Make our lives the answers to the very prayers that we offer. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Madam Administrator, are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions to the agenda?
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. On page 37, we are deleting item 3I10, and it will be heard on October 3rd. On page 53, 3TI has been moved and renumbered to 6A1. On page 73, 5A1 has a slight revision to our motion and title. Page 75, 5C1 has been deleted. Page 76 was the addition of the 6A1, which is the Child Care Advisory Council and appointing those members. On page 76, the existing 6A1 has been renumbered to 7A1, and that concludes the addition and deletions.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the amended agenda? We have a motion by Commissioner Woodward. We have a second by Commissioner Baxter. All in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 6-0. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Would anybody like to remove any item from consent this morning? Go ahead. Vice Mayor, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Yes, I would. And it's just to make a couple of comments, if I could. And that is, and I'll find it in a second here. Yes, Mayor, if I could. Yes, that's why you're the county administrator. Yes, if I could remove on page 34, that's 3I4, and it's just for comments, a couple of comments with regard to that.
Okay.
Mayor, if I could.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
We will, any other items to be pulled? Not seeing any. Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda less item 3I4?
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Baxter. We have a second by Commissioner Bernard. All in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 6-0. And now we'll move on to item 3I4.
Thank you, Mayor. And my comments is that I am very pleased and proud of what Andrew Duffel has done with the with the Florida Atlantic Research and Development Authority at FAU, and that he has also included Global Ventures which is a step up and increasing our county's involvement with new technologies and new startups that will only make Palm Beach County really a player in the 21st century. I know that this is in Commissioner Woodward's district, and I commend her for her involvement with this. My involvement was years ago in the Senate when we made sure that the tech runway, which was always our pride and joy, was funded. And I think that it's good that the county is stepping up and recognizing the importance of this research park at FAU. And kudos to Andrew Duffel as well. And that's why I wanted to pull it.
So do you have a motion?
Yes, I do at this time. I'd like to make a motion that we approve 3I, 4, and 4, because that was one that we removed, as part of the consent agenda.
So we have a motion by the Vice Mayor. We have a second by Commissioner Woodward. And is there any further discussion or comment? I see Mr. Duffel is here in chambers. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'll just add that I've had an opportunity to visit them down at the Research Park and Global Ventures and met a number of the startups that are but some of them are well on their way of becoming impactful businesses in a lot of different technologies. So congratulations to all you do. So with that, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 6-0. Okay, so now we are moving into, let's see, we should go into public hearings next.
Mr. Mayor, motion to receive and file proof of publication.
Okay, we have a motion to receive and file by Commissioner Bernard, and we have a second by Commissioner Baxter. All in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 6-0. So moving on to our first public hearing item, this is 4A1. This is a repeal of an ordinance. We've had a hearing on this before. We moved it. Does anyone need any presentation on this again?
No.
Okay. All right, with that, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by the Vice Mayor to approve item 4A1, repealing an ordinance of the County Commission, ordinance Chapter 14, Article 2, Section 14-82. All right, and we have a second by Commissioner Woodward. This brings us in compliance with the state. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 6-0. Okay. Moving on, facilities and development. This is 4B1. This is item A and B. This is reporting to the state regarding the surplus property on Okeechobee Boulevard that we approved last week. Does anyone need a discussion on this
No.
or on a presentation? Not. Would somebody like to make a motion? We have a motion by Commissioner Baxter, second by Commissioner Woodward. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Okay, moving into our regular agenda. So make sure I don't mess this up. So, okay, 5A1. This is a motion to adopt a contract between County Commissioners and BENCOR for development and implementation of a 401A plan. All right. Would you like a presentation on this? I think it would be helpful.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Von Laren, you are recognized, sir.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Administrator Baker, County Attorney. We have before you a brief presentation on the 401A, otherwise known as Special Pay Plan. This is an item that for some of you, you've seen a couple of times already. For others, fewer than that. But we wanted to make sure just from an understanding perspective, just to take a little brief history of how we got to where we are today, what the 401A is and what it's not, and share with you just some insights, and then also seek your direction as we go back and we sit down with Bencor under the contract that's before you today to put together that plan for you. So the special pay plan that we have is, this was brought to staff by the Board of County Commissioners to ask us to do some research to look into a 401A or a special pay plan, and including that into our complement of options for our employees. Based on that board direction, we went back, we looked at a number of different plans, we had a number of questions, we came back to the BCC, asked for some additional direction to seek some legal counsel, which we did, and they gave us some of the opinions that we thought were enabled us to move forward with some of the specific direction of the board on how to put this together. We convened a selection committee of a number of staff in HR, administration, and of the 4 applicants that were submitted, Bencor Incorporated was selected as the vendor. We negotiated with them after that, and many thanks to them for including as part of that contract a guaranteed interest rate of 3.5% on dollars that are put into that as one of the investment options for our employees when those dollars go in there. So what is a special pay plan? These are basically these 401As are investment tools that can be customized for specific group participants. And I just emphasize that because there is a lot of flexibility as we sit down and we put this plan together with Bencor, and that flexibility is going to be where we're looking for some of your direction on how to move forward with that. But the one key is that all members that we identify within that plan, that we select to participate in that 401A, must participate in it. They don't have the option of not doing it. They have to be participants in that 401A, a little bit different than the 457B we have now, which is voluntary for individual employees to decide to participate if they like to or not. These are funded by what's called special pay and employees special pay. And so for purpose of what we're looking at in this, that special pay would be that unused, accumulated, compensable sick and vacation time that is available to those employees upon their termination from employment with Palm Beach County. One of the benefits of this special pay plan in the 401A is that both the employer, we as Palm Beach County, and the employee save a percentage, 7.65% of Social Security and Medicare tax on those funds. So normally the way we do it today, we disperse these dollars in someone's last check when they're leaving the county, and then those appropriate taxes are remitted to the federal government from the county and also the employee. We would keep that under the 401A, and the dollars that would go into the 401A for the employee would also have the benefit of that 7.65%. Some also pay plans, just so you know, are set up to have mandatory employer-employee contributions, but that was not specifically something that we were looking at under this plan. This next slide, we just wanted to talk initially, because this was one of the big questions that we had to drill in with some of our legal team, and that was the recognition of allowing just those employees' unused sick and vacation time to be qualified to have as only as part of this retirement plan. And through that research, we've been able to qualify that through some of the language that we have here, and our general legal outside counsel also confirmed with us that we're able to use that unused sick and vacation time as part of that 401A. Just to give you a little bit of an understanding of how our accrual process works with vacation and sick leave, our vacation leave, you can see in that chart from year 0 to 1, you accrue 4 hours per pay period. As you get more seasoned in the county, 10 years and greater of time, 6.16 is the maximum vacation leave accrual that you begin to accrue from years 10 to 99. I'm happy to say we haven't had to deal with anyone beyond 99, so all good there. Sick leave accrual is a little different. That's the same and consistent across the board. So everyone receives 4 hours as part of their pay plan with the county per period. So on the vacation policy itself, these reflections of accruals are in an employee's paycheck the week following the end of the pay period. These are all governed by merit rule. Employees can't take any more time than what they have accumulated to date. The maximum accumulation of vacation hours that an employee can accumulate is 400 hours. And any employees accumulated more than 400 hours at the end of the year, those are forfeited, those excess of 400, which is why we encourage people to please take vacations. It's something that we think is very important for them to do. Our county employees are currently allowed to donate some of their vacation hours towards the Palm Beach County United Way campaign. And then also employees are currently permitted to be paid out up to 500 hours to enter into the Florida Retirement System Deferred Retirement Option Plan, otherwise known as DROP. None of these are being proposed to be changed at all. These are all proposed to stay the same, so these merit rules and the state rules will stay in place as we move forward. In terms of sick leave policy, sick leave is earned biweekly, and the accrual is based on 10% of an employee's scheduled hour work week, so that doesn't exceed 40 hours per week. So basically 104 hours of sick leave per year is what employees accumulate. And they can accumulate unlimited. So some employees who've been here for many, many years, who have a good health record and haven't had to take time off, have a lot of unused sick leave. But in terms of the payout of that sick leave, for employees who were hired before October of 1994, they are eligible to receive upon retirement or leave from the county up to 50% of their unused sick pay, up to 500 hours that they're eligible for. Employees hired after that October 194 date can be paid out for 10% of that sick time after 10 years of employment, not to exceed 500 hours under that merit rule as well. So we wanted to, just these last couple of slides, just focus on these pages with you for some of the feedback we're looking for the board in terms of that plan design. And wanted to again remind you that the 401A allows the flexibility to carve out employee groups for inclusion into the plan. So examples of that are sometimes, you might say we only want directors or only all executives, or plan that doesn't include, any people in those categories for the plan. The plan also has to consider all exempt salaried employees too. So if the board would like for this to be available for our union represented employees, those are things that we have to go back and individually negotiate as part of those collective bargaining agreements. And we are happy to do that and make the determination whether or not they'll accept entering into that plan. We can always make those changes to the plan as we go forward and check additional boxes on the plan if certain bargaining units decide that they would like to enter into the 401A. We can also look at employees by pay grades as well. So different classifications, employees in the executive pay range or employees that are earning above a certain income threshold. Those are things that we also might want to look at too. But one thing we wanted to note is that, again, unions, we would have to go back and we'd have to negotiate individually with these on these. It's not something that the board could just decide without that particular input. The next page, we just wanted to share some of the design considerations and some of the concepts. So the first two bullets, I think it was pretty clear from the board and the direction that we've been moving forward on that these are specific to the plan that we'll bring back, which is to use for terminating employees only, and then only to use those terminating employees with compensable sick and vacation balances. So it kind of ties it into some of those employees who are leaving and just to sick and vacation that they have available. It won't affect the ability of people entering DROP to use some of their hours, up to 500 hours, to go in there, but they'll accumulate more vacation and sick time in their DROP period that they could use at the end towards their 401As if they choose to do that. So one thing I wanted to point out too, and this issue came up in a couple of the conversations with the board, and that is that there's certain age thresholds that offset IRS penalties in this. So yes, You get your money in your 401A, and you get the benefit of the 7.65%. But if you're an employee who's under 59 and a half years old, or if you haven't reached your retirement years of service as recognized by the state, so 25 years for special risk, 30 years for general employees, and you want to withdraw that money from the 401A immediately when it goes in there, you're subject to a 10% penalty on that withdrawal unless you have met the age threshold of 59 and a half or that year of service threshold of, and I'll just use our general employees, of 30 years before they're eligible for full retirement. So it was one of those things for consideration if the board is saying, hey, we don't want folks to be penalized with that. You can decide that we only want this to apply to those employees who have reached 59 and a half or 30 years of service, or we can look at different tenure thresholds, which was another bullet that's up there as well. So maybe for longer tenured employees that we've had, 10 years, 20 years, et cetera, who have been with us a longer period of time. And then another point of consideration were those employees that might have de minimis balances. So somebody who has $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 in payout, are those something that might be easier just to roll into that last check and allow them to do what they wish with it? Or are those kinds of things that you want to see also going in that 401A that has some de minimis balance threshold? A number of different plans that we've looked at have de minimis thresholds that vary from anywhere from $1,500 at the low end to, close to $5,000 at the high end from that perspective. And so those are just a few of those design considerations that we want you to consider. And we can be as creative as you like in terms of how we piece it together in working with BenCor. And then just in terms of the last slide, and we'll come back to the plan design, but just in terms of timeline, we're here today for approval from the board of the contract under A. And then under B, that discussion of just giving us some direction back as we sit down with BenCor, look at sort of the list of options that we have available to piece this plan together. And then if we need to come back to the board with that plan or seek further direction, we can do that. But we also want to provide ample time for a number of our employees to understand exactly what this is, what that impact will be. We've run numbers in terms of how many of our employees are 59 years and above, how many have X number of years of service, how many are below and are getting close to that retirement age. So we've got about 1,000, 1,100 or so employees that are sort of in that 59 and a half and up, and then several hundred more that are getting close to that point as well. So we want to make sure that we have ample time, not us, but also BenCor, to be able to share with them their services. I mean, we understand that there might be some employees out there that are excited about this and really want to get this moving. On the other hand, we also know that there are some employees out there that are very nervous about this and very nervous about a plan that they don't know much about, that's mandatory, and that's part of the reason for this presentation and also for continued presentations that are written into the contract with BenCor, that will have that opportunity with the vendor to go out there and provide some of that option for education as well with employees that will be impacted by this. So I will stop at that point and ask the board if there's any questions. We've got some great experts up here at the table as well as in the audience, and we're happy to sort of share any information that you need or receive any direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Baxter, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Todd, what's the current on, I guess, page 3 of our packet? We have vacation and sick leave accruals and what they would be. What are they currently?
So the vacation and sick leave accruals that we have here on this chart that you're looking at, those are the current vacation and sick leave accruals, and those are the future vacation and
So
sick
you're
leave accruals.
not trying to change the accrual rate?
We are not asking for any changes to the existing accrual rate in vacation or sick leave policy.
And were we able to address if somebody had been planning on using some accrued time to get a payout?
In terms of,
If somebody has 400 hours,
Right.
right, and then we put them into this plan, they no longer have the option of getting that payout.
So if they go and, if somebody has 400 hours, for example, and the 401A is in place and they're part of the group that is required for these dollars to go in that plan, those dollars would flow into that plan. They would have the dollar equivalent of that 400 hours. And at that point, they could decide they want to keep it in that plan. And depending on whether they have had 30 years of service in the county or met 59 and a half years of age, they could withdraw it from that plan with no penalty. If they haven't met those thresholds, they could withdraw it immediately from that plan with a 10% penalty of that, or they can move those dollars around to other plans that they might have. They can move it into a 457B or some other mechanism.
Is that changed since the last time we had a presentation on this?
Yeah.
Because last time they were saying they couldn't just take it out. Do they what are the thresholds they have to meet in order to take out the money without a penalty?
The thresholds for taking it out without a penalty are age and years of service. So 59 and a half years of age, 30 years of service, right? But anybody who has money in a 401A has the ability to get immediate access to those dollars and take it out. It's just a question of that penalty piece. So, but even though there's a 10% penalty, there's also a 7.65% savings that employee is seeing. So essentially, that delta between the two is just, under 2.5% less of what they would be seeing had they been getting it in their check directly.
Overall, I like the idea. I just don't want people who have been planning or maybe saying, hey, I want to get this cash out
Yeah.
and then be forced into a situation where they have to take a penalty on it. And that was my concern before, but I will, let my fellow commissioners ask their questions.
And just to that point too, I mean, there's also percentages of those dollars too. I mean, you can set up a plan that doesn't take 100% of their unused sick and vacation and put in there. You can do 50%, 75%, so that a portion goes in the 401A and then a portion goes into their final check. So that's the flexibility that's derived that you have the ability to look at and direct in developing the plan.
All right. Okay, Commissioner Bernard and then Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would a representative from BenCor please come forward? Good morning. I have some questions. In regards to the question that Commissioner Baxter had asked.
Excuse me, just 1 second. Just for the record, can you state your name? Yes.
I can. My name is Hugh Bishop, H-U-G-H-B-I-S-H-O-P. I'm executive chairman of BenCor. I was also a co-founder. We're a Florida corporation headquartered in Sarasota with 22 offices throughout the state of Sarasota. We have approximately 1 million participants throughout the United States, all 50 states in these plans. Florida is where we concentrate. We have all 67 school districts, including Palm Beach County. We have the Palm Beach County College. We have all the colleges in the state, some of the major universities. The state of Florida has been a client of ours. So this is where we do the majority of our business, but we're large in Texas, California, and a number of other states.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Britt Deviney, and I'll keep my answer short.
The question that Commissioner Baxter had asked regarding if the person had the 400 hours, would they, if they took out, if you put it in their paycheck, they still would be subject to that 10%. Is that correct? So if they haven't reached the 59 years of age
You want me to talk about the make-whole agreement?
and they haven't met the 25 or 30 year, would they still be penalized for that 10%?
You're talking about under the 401A, if the 401A is in place or if the 401A is not in place?
If the 401A is not in place?
If the 401A is in place, only the dollars that are allocated into the 401A are subject to those rules. Dollars that are not allocated into that 401A are not subject to the 10% penalties. Is that?
I may be able to help on that a little bit. Todd, that was a great presentation. We'd love to have you come to work if you would. The penalties are IRS penalties. Most of you are familiar with the age 59 and a half penalty if you have a 401K or an IRA or that type of thing. For this particular plan, it's actually age 55 and a half. And for police officers, it's 50 or 25 years of service. That just changed within the last couple of years. The 55's always been there. So it's a little bit different, but very close. In some cases, it would be age 59 and a half, but generally, all government employees, it's gonna be 55. These are very unique plans. And the reason we get all the tax advantages we get is because of the mandatory nature of the plans. So if you have a 30-year employee, some of the school districts, for example, were concerned with this. We've heard all these questions before, of course, because they had a lot of people who would come to work at age 22, right out of college. They get 30 years in, would leave at 52. And they go, you know, we want to have sick pay going into the plan, but we don't have a 10% penalty imposed by the IRS if you take a distribution prior to age 59 and a half. I don't want to confuse you, but there's a difference depending on the age when you leave employment. If you leave after age 55 or in the year you turn 55, no 10% penalty. If you leave at age 53 and want to take your money out, it's 59 and a half unless you take, and we could go into detail with everybody. A couple of other things that might be helpful to you and save a little bit of time. Our employer groups originally, when they would adopt these plans, would adopt them for all employees subject to collective bargaining agreements, okay? So if I'm not a member of a union here and you decide you want the plan in place for all employees over age 55 or 30 years of service with at least $2,500, they would go into the plan. You don't have to do that. I'm just telling you that's the way a lot of employers do it. And then, of course, you negotiate with all the employee groups. Where else would you like to go? Here's the other thing that happened. Back when we initially set these up, we went to every K-12 because they're the largest employer in every county in the state of Florida except for Orange, where Disney is. So Palm Beach County Schools was one of our early clients in the 90s. We would take all the part-time, seasonal, and temporary employees, because all your substitute teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, put them in the FICA plan because the special pay didn't exist yet. All our plans are IRS approved. We had IRS approval for that plan back in 93, 94. And then the special pay plan was approved by the IRS in 98. We went back to the school districts because they have unlimited accumulation of sick and vacation pay, as do sheriff's departments, as do all the colleges. It's just state employees, state university employees, and then some other political entities that put any limits on that. So we have public school people who leave with $300,000 in sick pay. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but they do. The average is about $14,000 statewide per employee for all governmental entities. That's just sick, not the vacation. So when we initially had these special pay plans adopted by school districts, the teachers unions would go, oh no, you've never done anything good for us, we don't trust you, we don't do it. Within a year or 2 years, the principals, the vice principals were in the plans, other administrators, they go, we want this plan. Now it's come 180 degrees where the unions are taking us in. Nassau County in New York, the unions are dragging us into the county. We've had Suffolk up there forever. So that's just a changing nature of the plan. It's such a great benefit. If we could do it for private employers, I wouldn't have time to be here today. But when you can save 7.65% for the employer, you save 7.65% depending on the wage rate for the employee, you defer all federal income tax until you actually take a cash distribution, which, by the way, it takes about 2 days. Once we have a request, we pay out over $300 million a year in distributions, either into 457 plans, 401ks, IRAs, in cash, whatever. No fees, no charges. We don't even charge for a stamp. We lose money on those people, but we know we'll keep enough assets and enough money that we can pay all our bills and we can make money, and that's how the plan works.
And another question, what about the menace? How would you like for us to kind of like consider that?
You can do it per employee group, depending maybe on how much money they accumulate, that type of thing. It makes no difference to us at all. We have people with 0, we have people with up to close to 5,000. We think 5,000 is too high. What happened was, even with the age 55 issue with teachers and people, if you had a significant amount of money and you're 53 and you're leaving employee, it's such a great benefit. They wanted their money to go in, even though they could be subject to a 10% penalty, depending on how they took the money out, where they rolled it, what have you. We've got a way that we can offset that too, using your 7.65% savings. Take 2.35 out of that, you still save 5. The employee doesn't pay anything, no 10% penalty at all. It's a wash. They've deferred all their income tax, and they have all the benefits. So there are a number of ways to structure these plans. What I want to get at is there's no downside to you as the employer or to the employees. And the flexibility, as Todd was saying, is very great, and it can be done per employee group. We can have a group of 1, but IRS doesn't really like that too much. But we have small groups, and then we have groups with thousands of people in them, so.
Okay, I know for me, I brought this up, and, I want to include as many employees as possible and to keep the de minimis amount as low as possible. So in that way, even if someone's got $2,500, if they get the chance to not have to pay taxes on it, they can roll it into the 401A, and if they can get it out within 48 hours, if that's the concern, within 48 hours, they can get that money. So in that way, we save the money, and the employee save the money. So, thank you, Ms. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. I'm itching to get my question out before they already asked my questions. To get, I guess, to what I would like to know, there's a 10% penalty that's put on people under a certain age bracket. But if they don't do this, as we do it right now, when they get paid out, it's taxed as income, correct? Do we know about what that tax rate is, or is it a dollar amount? Is it an income amount? How is that determined? Does anyone?
You wanna take that one? Yeah.
The tax bracket,
I
right?
mean, basically, the way it works is you're taxed on your income brackets, by the IRS. So sometimes those amounts that are in somebody's last check for their last pay period will bring up a tax bracket potentially for somebody. So I think it depends individually how that flows.
So do we know where the sweet spot is as far as if they're gonna take the payout and the tax would be at a certain level versus what the payout would be, and if they're under a certain age and want to cash out, and the 10% penalty? I mean, I would think at any rate, the 10% is less than the tax, especially when you consider the 7.65 savings. Is that,
Let me try and answer that.
okay?
Because there's a 7.65, which is a FICA and the Medicare. That's the savings. The other tax, your regular income, that's just based on whatever your income is that year. When you pull this money out, it's just ordinary income.
Right.
So you would be taxed at whatever your or your household, if you file as married, joint, you would be taxed at whatever that total income is, or you file individually, you would be taxed at whatever your income is that year for those dollars that you took out, unless you rolled them over into a qualified plan. If you roll them, then there's no tax penalty there, but everybody would save the 7.65 if they meet the qualifications.
So I guess my question is then, if they withdraw and pay the 10%, is that considered the income tax, or
No.
they still have
No,
to
no,
pay
no,
an
that
additional
ha-
income
that-
tax?
That's separate. Let me try and,
Okay.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
So, and just continuing on of what was said, so there's a way to avoid the 10% penalty for everybody,
Okay,
and it doesn't cost the county any money. Well, it costs the county some of the savings that they had already accrued, because it's 7.65% combined. The penalty is 10%, but they're also saving the 7.65. So if the county was to add in 2.35 of their previous savings back in for people who do encounter the 10% penalty, it makes them whole. And so they would leave with the exact number of dollars that they had without any penalty. And it still would save, the county would still save, almost 5%. So it's a win-win, and yet you haven't penalized the employees, and they're made whole, and other than a 48-hour window for withdrawal. Did I explain that correctly? I think I did.
You did explain that,
So,
and we had that conversation, Mayor, before. One of the pieces of direction too was, initially from the board, was let's do this plan without any financial impact, specifically to the county. So in terms of that payback, I mean, that would be a policy call, but that would be taking from a portion of what the county would be saving, as well as, what the individual will be saving, and then taking
But
those savings and
we're
putting it
still
back
to the
in.
good, right? We're to the good on those people that we go all the way through, we get the 7.65, and then the others, if we're not, we're still almost 5% better, so.
And Mayor, you may have people that don't wish to take that distribution. So it's an option that you actually give to the employee on, do you want to separate from service and take a distribution and have us make you whole? Or some people say, no, I don't want to take a distribution, I want to leave it where it is.
Right, absolutely, 100%, depending on how it's invested and what programs you all are offering them. So, yeah, may be a great vehicle for them. Anyways,
Okay, so just for
Go ahead.
clarify,
No,
thank
you
you.
go ahead.
So if we, as a policy, put in to offer the 2.35, so that would take our savings down to 5.3, which is still a savings. This would only be for people under, you're saying 55 years? Is that, or is it 59? Do we?
The only time the penalty would apply is if you separated from service prior to the year that you're turning age 55. I know it's a little bit confusing. That's not what it is in the private sector or with other plans. It's age 59 and a half. The government has usually exempted themselves from their own rules. So they made it age 55 for government employees. And for police officers, they just changed it to 25 years or age 50. So they have an even bigger benefit, like your sheriff's department would have.
confuse us, that's not us.
But if you're age 53 and you leave and you took all the money out, when we do your 1099 in January, we check early distribution. Now the IRS says you're subject to a 10% penalty because you weren't age 55 when you took your money out of the plan. So now they'll pay that 10% in addition to whatever tax they owe. If they don't owe tax, they get a refund less than 10%. What I think we're trying to explain is if in fact you do something we call a make whole provision, instead of saving 7.65, if they take all their money out within 30 or 60 days, you say, look, we'll pay you that 2.35%. You save 7.65, so you have no penalty. You have the same number of dollars, but you have the option to defer all your income tax, roll it into another plan, continue your tax deferrals, or whatever you want to do. So it's good for everybody. I will say that just about everybody's adopting that make whole, but a lot of times it's just not utilized a lot. People decide to either leave the money in, move it to their 457s, whatever they want to do. So we don't care. Whatever people, it's their money.
But we have the option to do the make whole, so, okay.
All right,
And you don't have to do it. It's up to you strictly. And you can change it anytime, whatever you would like.
and just for the public's edification, we have no control over the sheriff's office and their employees. They
didn't mean to
can
bring
go
that up.
talk to Sheriff Bradshaw
Yes.
about this plan if they're interested. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Baxter and then Commissioner Bernard.
I just wanted to say thank you for explaining that, because I actually love the make whole option of this. I think that's the best route forward. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion to approve item 5A1A, to approve a contract with Bencor. And in regards to item B, I'd like for us to have it to all employees who are subject to collective bargaining agreement, and also to include the make whole provision.
Do you want to have a de minimis amount?
The de minimis amount should be,
2,500.
what'd you say?
2,500?
2,500?
Okay.
Okay. 2,500, okay.
You can always change that.
Okay, so we'll start it with 2,500, and then also, if we can give staff direction, they can meet with Ben Core, and if there's something that's better, you can bring it to us.
Yeah, I mean, we plan to meet with Bencor immediately to put down the plan design, get that in place. And we ultimately will bring back that final plan design to the Board of County Commissioners, so you'll see that before it goes into place. And have an education plan in place as well, so that you're aware of how we plan on communicating this and working with Bencor in that respect.
That's your motion, and we have a second from the Vice Mayor. But while we have you both here, and I know I'm holding up this vote, but is there any other recommendations that you think we need to be taking up at this time?
No, I think you've covered it very thoroughly, and those are the major issues we deal with. But remember, if something's not working or we want to make a change, we can do it very, very quickly.
Okay, so we're not locked in, we can make,
Right.
is there a number of times a year you can make the change?
No.
So,
Practically, you're not going to do it very often.
but
Once-
we're entitled to.
There's no limitation.
Okay.
There's no IRS limitation, and those are the only limitations we have to live with.
And when would this go into effect? Next calendar year? Is it done on the calendar year? How's it
We
done?
could have it in effect in 2 months. We can have it next July. We can do it whenever you want, and you can do it piecemeal for different employment groups. So if somebody's very anxious to be in there immediately and somebody else wants to wait for whatever reason, calendar year, fiscal year, we can make that work too.
Okay.
I think the staffs, they have a timeline to start it on January 1st of 2024. I'd like for us to stick to that,
Okay.
to give the education period.
Of course, yeah, no, I think the education period is really important.
Yeah, we can definitely do that, and we've got local representatives that live here and offices here, so.
And Mayor, just one other point too on the make whole provision. I mean, that is something that we have talked about in the past. We haven't seen a lot of plans that typically have that in there, but just want to make sure, we'll work with our attorney's office on that too, just to make sure that, the one thing is, with the IRS, I mean, we've been pretty good about working with our counsel just to make sure all the pieces of this through our attorney's office meets all of the different tests so that we've got a plan that is, acceptable to the IRS and we don't run into any issues there. So I just wanted to caveat that we'll work with Ben Carr, our team, and County Attorney's Office just to make sure that it meets all of those threshold pieces on the IRS, what we bring back.
And Todd, we had hired outside counsel, am I correct? Who
did,
did who did we have?
Greenberg Trorig was our outside counsel on this piece, and they were very good in terms of the information they gave back to us. And our questions were very specific with them, and so they answered all those to our satisfaction. The de minimis piece was not one that we included in that, but we can work quickly with Bencor to, make sure that we're okay with all of those
We
pieces.
work with Greenberg throughout the country, and with other large firms too.
All right, thank you.
Vice Mayor, you recognize.
Just wondering if they're going to audit someone, should we give them maybe Todd Monlaren's number on this?
We'd be
As
glad
long
to
as
have him
Greenberg
represent us.
Trog says it's okay with the IRS.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we vetted this pretty well.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it. And I'll let you go ahead and proceed with your
No, I just,
motion to accept. I think it's excellent. I want to thank staff for looking out for us and the employees on these issues, because it does. We have a lot of folks here who've spent many years in county employment. And thank you, Ms. Baker, and all the staff for looking out for all of us. Appreciate it.
yeah, I just want to weigh in also. Want to thank Administrator Baker, Todd, the whole team, because this was very complicated, and we've been working at this for over probably a year and a half. And so government is not as easy, but I believe that, we're making the right decisions, and, we're going to save the taxpayers' dollars, and also we're also going to save our employees 7.65%, and also giving them another option to have another tool for them to include in savings in the future. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Bernard, and I just want to thank you for bringing this forward. I had never heard about these plans until you brought this forward, and it's as you said, I mean, it's saving the taxpayers money, it's saving the employees money, and providing them another vehicle for planning for their own future retirement. So, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here. With that, if seeing no other discussion, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We are moving on. Airports, 5B1. This is a contract for janitorial services. Does anyone need a presentation on this?
No.
Okay, with that, would somebody like to make a motion? This is 5B1.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor. Hi, Ms. Phoebe. I'd like to make a motion on 5B1 to approve the amount as stated in the request.
Okay, so this is not to exceed $2.5 million. All right, we have a motion by the Vice Mayor. We have a second by Commissioner Bernard. All in favor, seeing no discussion, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 6-0. Try to get there before you sat down. All right. Item 5C1 was removed. And then we are now, that goes to 7-1. So now we go to 6. So now we're to 6A1. And this is, we're going to convene, so we are going to recess as the Board of County Commissioners. We are reconvening as the Child Care Facilities Board. And staff is recommending a motion to reappoint the 2 members of the Child Care Advisory Council to fill the positions listed below. Anyone have a discussion? Seeing none, would somebody like to make a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to, make sure the words, motion for the reappointment of 2 members of the Child Care Advisory Council to fill the positions listed below.
Thank you.
And that was 3 and 4, sir.
Okay, so we have a motion by the Vice Mayor, a second by Commissioner Baxter. All in favor, seeing no discussion, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 6-0. All right, so now we have completed 6A1. We are now on to, if I got this right, 7A1. Okay. So this is a revised motion. This is to an appointment to the Value Adjustment Board. And so we have an at-large seat, and there are 2 nominees, Mr. J. Nisberg and Miss Elizabeth Acomando. And with that, I think, what do we hold, an election, right?
Correct. Yes.
All righty. Well, with that, we can hold our election. We'll go ahead. All those in favor of Mr. J. Nisberg signify by, Commissioner Baxter, you recognize.
I'm just asking, so we only have 2 seats open?
We have 1 seat open, so here's what we've got. Okay, let me explain it. We have 1 seat open for the at-large seat, and then we have an alternate. So what will happen is we will consider the at-large seat first, and then we'll move into the alternate seat. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. So, Vice Mayor, you recognize.
I don't want to belabor this, but I don't know anything about either one of these, the 2 applicants. And I wonder if, maybe I missed it in my email, which is very possible, but I wonder if we could have the 2 commissioners who nominated, or the persons themselves here, tell us a little bit about themselves or why they would want to serve on this board. Is that possible, Mayor, or?
I would be happy to do that. Would you be
Thank
happy to
you.
do that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Do you mind if I turn it over to Ms. Accomando?
You're very welcome to do so. Let's give her 3 minutes. And then if there's questions, we'll go ahead and answer them.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, staff. First of all, let me say thank you. It's quite an honor for me to have this nomination to be appointed to the board. You're right, we don't really know a lot about each other personally. I have been involved very passionately with the county as well as the community through my animal rescue. Our specific mission is to serve Palm Beach County, and that's what we live day in and day out. When this opportunity came in front of me, I thought, well, you know, I'm not much about taxes, but I do know a lot about taxes, and I do know a lot about property value, and I do know what's happening here in Palm Beach County. In fact, just yesterday, we were named one of the top 10 overvalued housing markets, which is really scary for a lot of our residents. You know, we see it every day. People in these uncertain times, this crazy economy we're going through, people are really struggling. And I think that I can be a very fair and open-minded voice to hear these people who feel like their taxable value is not appropriate for whatever reason comes before them. So again, I thank you for the opportunity, and I can assure you I will do my best to put our residents' interests at heart and always first. Thank you.
Any questions? All right.
I just, if it's okay, Mayor, I just want to say thank you for coming down here for this. I know this is, you know, living in where we live out there, it gets a little crazy. So just thank you for coming in and talking
Of course.
to this. And it's why I know you've lived through a lot of these problems yourself, and why your name came to mind when this came up. So
Well,
thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
So I'll tell you a little bit about Jay Nisberg. He is a PhD and a CPA. He lives here in West Palm Beach, and he was one of my appointees to our planning commission and served us well there, but he had to take care of some health issues, which he is taken care of, and so he's ready to be able to serve again. He has helped and provides consulting services for a number of other accounting firms. He was a professional development coordinator for the American Institute on Public Accountants. Oh, and I've got a whole list of things here. For the past 20 years, Jay has been honored by Accounting Today as an industry news magazine as the longest active member of their top 100 most influential people in accounting profession, longer than any other individual. I will tell you, I first met Jay, though, through his philanthropic work. If you know anything about the turkey giveaways that have happened in the city of West Palm Beach, those were Jay's personal program that he set up to make sure that families didn't go hungry in West Palm Beach during the Thanksgiving holidays. Let's see what else it says here. Jay has consulted with General Motors, RCA Corporation, and the White House, and he's frequently quoted in journals, newspapers I've read. He's got a book out that I've read, and so I think he would be a fair-minded person to be able to listen to these cases and help adjudicate them. So with that, I can't really answer any questions, but were you signaling me?
There was a question that came up on yesterday whether we require individuals being nominated for a seat, whether they should show up or not. And that has not been our practice, just so we're all on the same page.
Yep. Okay, thank you. All right, with that, let's go ahead and we'll hold the vote. Okay. So, all those in favor of Jay Nisberg signify, I guess, by raising your hand. I will support him. Okay, well, we know what the vote is then. All right, with that, we will move on to our next. So Elizabeth Accomando, you will become our open at-large seat representative on the VAB. Thank you very much. And next, our alternate is in case one of our other seats cannot be available, so that we make sure that we have a quorum so that they can hold their meetings. At this point then, since Elizabeth has now, Ms. Accomando has been appointed, then Ashley Aceto would become our alternate, since she can't run. So, there you go, all done. All right, and I think that was our last item, and we're now to commission district appointments. We will start with Commissioner Barnett. Do you have any appointments today?
No appointments, Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Woodward, do you have any appointments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to reappoint Carolyn Pomeranz to Water Utilities Advisory Board.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, do you have any appointments today?
No, none, Mayor.
Commissioner Bernard, do you have any appointments today?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Baxter, do you have any appointments today?
I do, but if I could just have a moment of personal privilege and just say, thank you, Mayor. And I didn't know if your other person would just automatically be the alternate, so it was a learning experience today. So thank you for that with the Value Adjustment Board vote. But I do, back to the appointment, I would like to appoint Regina Boland to the Fair Housing and Equal Employment Board.
Okay, thank you. All righty. Moving on, administration comments.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to ask Sheila Lincoln Woodbury to come forward. Ms. Woodbury has worked for Palm Beach County and our residents for 44 years. She is looking to retire. And I wanted to thank her publicly for her dedication to our employees, because she's worked almost 39 of those years over in HR in various positions. She started out in community services. She worked with, and these are names from the past, Tom White and Ed Rich. And then she, after 5 years, she went over to HR and has worked diligently over there and been promoted throughout the process. I cannot say enough about Sheila. She has saved the county taxpayers significant dollars by resolving issues that come up regarding employees and their challenges. So I just want to publicly thank her for that. She has been an honorable member of Team PBC for her entire time here, and she has been dedicated. She is a double graduate of the Florida State University. Yes. And we've been together a long time. She started in the county in 1979. I was still in college, about to graduate, but I was still in college. And we've worked very, very close together. She has worked diligently with Wayne Condry, who also is a graduate of FSU. And they have been over in HR for a very long time. So I'd like to give her something so that she won't have immediate withdrawals from us when she retires, and a certificate of appreciation for her many years of service.
Thank you.
Is it possible for her to take a picture with all of you? Come on.
No, whatever you love, you want.
I'll bet you were.
I wasn't.
You were born in South by 79? Hey, everybody here?
Now we're too far that way.
Yeah. Perfect, thank you. Congratulations.
What's the plan?
Can I have you come work in my office?
She's my neighbor and her
you
husband
want to.
walks, so he'll be
Oh,
throwing
no,
things at
no,
the
no.
house.
All that experience, wow.
Well, that's nice. All right. County Attorney comments. Denise? No comments.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to say that my journey with Palm Beach County has been joyful. I have learned so much. I have grown so much with Palm Beach County. It's heartfelt that I'm leaving, but I know I can't stay forever. But starting out with community services with Tom White and Mr. Rich, and then moving on to human services with Gene Kramer, Brad Merriman, Janice Burnell, and now Wayne Condry and Maria. Oh Lord, I forgot my boss's name. I'm just a little nervous. But anyway, I enjoyed my journey, and if I had to do it all over again, I would. I'm so appreciative, and I just thank the Lord for giving me this opportunity, and I thank you all just for honoring me today. It's just been great, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you all.
Mayor, just one more bit of good news. We have to take it when we can get it. Our Public Affairs Department won a couple of awards, and I just want to share. From 3CMA, City County Managers Association. They received an award of excellence for their graphic design of our fiscal year 2021 annual report. They also received the award excellence for a one-time video programming, How to Build an Island, highlighting the wonderful work of restoring the Lake Worth Lagoon habitat. And I want to thank the board because you allowed us to do the work that's displayed in the content of our 2021 annual report. So we did get major accolades for that. For the Florida Festival and Events Association, we received first place for Palm Beach County 2023 Event Guide Brochure, and second place for our Palm Beach County Day 2023 promotional item, and second place for our 2023 Community Outreach Program. So congratulations and thank you, staff at Public Affairs. And a special thank you to Dorrit, who oversaw and shepherded the completion of our 2021 annual report. So thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Administrator Baker. So we still have no comments from, okay, just to make sure. All right, we'll start with our commissioner comments then. We'll go ahead and we can start with Commissioner Barnett today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank you and your office, especially Virginia Savieto, for organizing that incredibly successful Hispanic Heritage Bus Tour. I rest home from FAC in order to be able to participate, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to travel with so many of our Hispanic leaders and county staff, including Dr. James Green, to several schools within your district and mine, as well as the Norton Museum. It was an amazing celebration one day into Hispanic Heritage Month. Also want to thank you for allowing me to stand with you at the podium to present that important proclamation honoring the rich Hispanic culture and heritage of so many people in Palm Beach County. 22% of our people, I believe, 22.7% of our residents have heritage that hails from all over South and Central America and the Caribbean and Spain. I'm grateful for their contributions, especially to my district, which I am still new to and learning all about. We also want to make an announcement that we are closer now than ever before to establishing a Hispanic Cultural and Heritage Resources Center. It may be a few years away, but at least we're talking about it. We're getting the ball rolling. Invitations have been sent out from my office to leaders from all around Palm Beach County's Hispanic community with regards to education and business and clergy and civic organizations who will have direct input on what's going to go into this Hispanic Cultural and Resources Community Center. We are also looking at plots of land that may be suitable for such a center, which is badly needed and overdue. I made the announcement at the festival that was held at the Lake Worth West property on Main Street in my district just this past weekend. It was met with a lot of enthusiasm. This is something people have been crying for a long time and reaching out to me since the day I was appointed to the county commission, and I made it a high priority for myself and our office to get this Hispanic Cultural Resources Community Center rolling at some point. And we have a lot of work to do. It's just beginning. I want to be very expressive of my gratitude towards Laura in my office, who's been working very hard on this with people across Palm Beach County, especially within the county government structure. We're going to get this done. It's going to be something you'll hear me talk about a lot more frequently between now and the day we break ground, God willing, within the next couple of years or so. Don't know. Can't make any promises, but this is my highest priority. I want to thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for leading, you and Virginia for leading the Hispanic Heritage Month drive, which began last week with the proclamation and the bus tour and so many more celebrations to come that I'm expecting I'll see so many of you at between now and October 15th. Thanks again, Mr. Mayor.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I also went to FAC last week. That's Florida Association for Counties, and just like to thank all the fellow commissioners and staff who was there. This was my second time attending, and really good to be able to sit into the committee meetings. And several of my fellow commissioners who sit on these and even chair some of the committees. I look forward to the legislative conference. There were some quite heated debates that I got to witness, and hearing thoughts from other commissioners around the state, especially when it comes to what we are now learning more about tourism impact versus tourism development tax. Now that I've been very educated on that, but I would just like to say it was well worth the trip. I did come back early too. I had obligations on Friday, but next time I'll plan to stay the whole time because it was good. I didn't want to leave. And thank you for everyone who helped answer my questions while I was there.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To piggyback on the issue of on Florida Association of Counties, we had a chance to tour the District 5 Florida Department of Transportation office. I'd like for us to, Todd, if there's a way for us to coordinate for us to do a tour of our District 4, so in that way we can get an update on what's going on, to meet with the secretary, that would be great. So, Mr. Mayor, that's something that I think that if we can do, to go down there to get a briefing on what they're working on and their plans for Palm Beach County. So I think that would be educational and to help us plan for the future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great idea. Great idea. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I love the idea of touring the District 4 one, especially now after seeing the District 5 one. That would be very helpful and useful for us to have that knowledge. If there's no objection, something had came to my attention, so I want to propose that our staff conduct an analysis of our counties, the take-home car policy that I had come across in relation to other entities within Palm Beach County, such as the sheriff's office. The goal is to identify opportunities to align our car policy with existing standards, and I request that staff present those findings to the board upon completion of that analysis, please. And with that, I just want to thank everyone. This was amazing, and I look forward to seeing you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, it's really interesting to talk about the FDOT. I've been down there a number of times to their office in Fort Lauderdale, and it's so important for us because one of the issues that was brought up by my fellow Commissioner Baxter is the issue of traffic in North Lake and 441 and Lyons Road. And I did a little research on our new developments that we have already approved and some that are coming through for us to approve. And I think that what has occurred is something that we can remedy, and that is, and I'm speaking specifically to Todd and to Ms. Baker. Our engineers were here, and I'm sure they're watching, though. I know they were here, they just left. But I'd like to direct our county engineers to do a local traffic impact study to review the impacts on local communities for new developments. So if somebody comes, a developer, and we welcome all developers, and they want to develop any type of development, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, mixed use, anywhere in the county, I'd like to see our county engineers do a study on how that development is going to impact our roads. I think it's extremely important, and it ties into all of this with the FDOT, as well as impacts on road construction and reconstruction throughout the county. Roads, to me, are like rivers. You don't dam a river up between one district and another. It flows north and south, sometimes east to west. Wherever those roads go, we need to have our county engineers review the impact that it will have on local existing communities as well as future communities. So I would request that our staff, especially engineering staff, review that, if I could, Mayor. Thank you.
Administrator Baker, you're recognized.
We're planning to, as you directed, to bring back in November at the November workshop. We're going to be talking about roads, our 5-year capital plan, as well as our capital vertical plan. And part of it is dealing with proportionate share, impact fees, et cetera, which all ties into what you're asking for. Currently, what occurs is every development that comes in, they have to do a traffic study. They hire their own traffic engineer. However, our traffic department has to review that, and what they don't agree with, they reject. And then they work with that traffic engineer in order to make the determination on what intersections and streets that particular project will be impacting. They have to take into consideration the background traffic, that is the traffic that you've already approved, in their traffic study. And so we're going to lay all of that out for you at the November meeting. Again, we'll also work with legal because if I recall correctly, there was a law that changed in the last couple of years that prohibits us from using traffic as the key to stopping development. But we're going to lay all of that out for you at the November meeting.
Thank you so much, Ms. Baker, and if I may respond. Because we can doesn't mean that we should.
That's correct. Comp plan.
And the issues of traffic and us as a county commission, that we can say yay or nay, depending on the impact it's going to have on our communities. So if the law says we should not, maybe we need to step up, and I'm looking at Denise, but I'm not asking to respond necessarily. But I do think that because the law says that we can't stop something, I think we can delay it until, if somebody wants to build 1,000 units in an area that doesn't have a proper road, I will sit here as a county commissioner and say no, because it will seriously impact the safety of our people. And that's our number one concern. So I would like to see us, and I do believe that it's been the sort of the policy here, that a private developer will hire their own engineer to review the impact. I find this good. However, and I know we review it, however, it's a little bit like going to court and being a plaintiff and have the insurance company have the only expert there to say you really didn't break your leg. It's just sort of crooked, you know. I think we kind of need to have a little more proactive use of our fine county engineers to review these proactively, and I don't bring up any particular items that I have seen that were not that studied in terms of a private engineer working on one of our development plans. However, I will review it carefully, and I'll bring it up to you and to our legal staff, because I have found a number of private engineering reports that that really do not, that are not independently referenced, and that have issues in them that do not ensure the safety of our people. And so I'll take a look at these, and if I do think that we need to have a different policy, I'd like to review that in light of a lot of development that's going on right now, so that our first job here is the safety of our people, and I would like to review that, and then I may bring it back in terms of a couple of them that I've seen. And thank you so much, Ms. Baker, and I look forward to reviewing this with you. Thank you.
County Attorney, you're recognized.
Thank you. Just, first of all, I'd like to point out that this is an issue facing the entire state. I think that everyone is looking at the result of some laws that have been made over the years that perhaps are not serving us today the way they served us at a different time. So that's something we might want to consider for legislative agenda. The priority of this board is always health, safety, and welfare. And even though you may not be able to look at traffic specifically as the only reason to deny a development, does not mean that you cannot look at the area and the surrounding impact on that, on putting this development in there, and say it does not serve the citizens to go ahead and approve that. So I think that the commissioner raises some very interesting points, and I think that as a whole, the commission might consider whether there's some further refinement of the laws we might want to do.
Thank you, County Attorney. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Following up on what Vice Mayor Sachs had said, and I had brought this up before, I just want to make sure it's covered in our workshop. Just because we can't deny based on traffic doesn't mean we also have to approve increased densities, right?
Correct.
They could have to actually just apply the density that is currently in place, just for clarity on that. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to caution us in regards to, you know, because the state is always trying to preempt us. And, you know, what we don't want is the state to just come in and step in, and sometimes we lose some of our local control. So we have to be very, very careful in terms of how we approach this, because I could see the state stepping in and taking some of these controls that we do have. So this is a balancing act. If the development community are not happy, they're going to go straight to Tallahassee, and we're going to get something that we don't really want. So thank you, Mr.
Thank you for those cautionary words, Commissioner. We've seen it happen all too often. Are you, you have any more comments, Vice Mayor? No. Okay. All right. Let me wrap this up then. A couple of things I'd like to talk about this morning. One is, of course, thank you, Commissioner Barnett, for recognition of Virginia Sabieto from my office. But I want to personally thank Virginia and folks over in Community Services for putting together the Hispanic Heritage Bus Tour. It was, all the reports I got, it was a wonderful event and very well done. But I know Virginia not only spent time at work on this, but she spent time personally to make sure this was a successful event and successful for everybody in Palm Beach County. So I really want to thank Virginia for that. I need to recognize one of my constituents who was kind enough to come into the meeting today, Roger Shore, who lives out in the Ibis community, wrote a book and brought a copy in. It's The Near Perfect Body, and it's how you can transform your body, so I will be into that. I don't know what I'm going to transform into, but I definitely, but I met Roger. They have a group out there, a theater group, that performs, they do readings and so forth, and went out there. They received an invitation based on a play that one of the residents wrote, and they were asked to perform in New York, and they did, and they got an award, and it was really wonderful, and I gave them a certificate of recognition to the players, and it was a lot of fun. So I want to thank and recognize Roger, though, for this book, and congratulations to see that we have so many wonderful people living in our community. In a couple of days, I'll be heading back up to Orlando. I will be attending the state's Broadband Summit. This will be the state's first broadband summit put on by the Office of Broadband. So I'm really interested to learn about how they're going to be dispersing the over $1 billion the state of Florida has received or will be receiving from the federal government to help expand broadband. So look forward to that. I want to maybe prematurely congratulate Brightline. My understanding is they're going to begin service to Orlando on Friday. It's too bad you guys couldn't start on Wednesday, so then I could take it up there and back, but so be it. But congratulations for Brightline for completing that portion of their tracks and getting that service up and operational. I think it's going to be a real boon to all of South Florida to have that kind of connection. And then lastly, I know last week Commissioner Bernard asked for a moment of silence in regards to the terrible, terrible tragedy, the shooting up in Jacksonville, further reminding us of we have a long ways to go as a country, and unfortunately, we have continued to see racism, anti-Semitism, hatred being spread in our community. A couple weeks ago, we had more anti-Semitic attacks take place throughout Palm Beach County. And I just want to reiterate to the citizens that law enforcement is involved, our state attorney's office is involved, your local governments are involved in trying to root this out and stop these hateful behaviors. But we are now in the season of Jewish high holidays, and it's an opportunity for us to all reflect and review as who we are, who we want to be, and every day, as I like to say, is an opportunity to be your next best self. And so I'm just asking our community to open up their hearts, open up their minds, and understand that, yeah, we may be different, we may practice different religions, we may look differently, we are different, but we are one community. And that's the wonderful thing about where we have chosen to live, that we've chosen to live together, and I ask that we do so peacefully and respectfully, regardless of anybody's belief. But we have to stop and root out this hatred that has unfortunately taken hold again in this country. But with that, I wish everybody a safe and happy New Year and an easy fast if that's something you partake of as we move forward to our Day of Atonement. Commissioner Barnett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to congratulate Ms. Accomando, the newest member of the Value Adjustment Board, on behalf of the rest of the members, the chair and vice chair, Commissioner Woodward, and look forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Barnett. If there anything else for the good of the order? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.